welcome back to the Pageant Sit Down. I'm your host, Regina Lena, and I am joined with my co-host,
Hi,
Elizabeth.
it's Liz. How are you, Regine?
I'm good, Liz. How are you?
I'm really good. Been relaxing, so this is going to be fun. I'm excited to chat this evening.
Must be nice. I just want to say thank you for joining the chats for the Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown's 5-year episode this past Sunday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's crazy to think that show is where this show originated from, and it's been on air for 5 years, and a lot of our guests, including yourself, have been on that show a few times. So it's wild. It's wild to think where that podcast has grown, and hopefully we can catch up.
Yes, we will. I think we will. Our episodes we're getting to the high numbers here, so.
We are on episode 114.
Wow.
That's a lot of interviews. I know. But I'm excited because our guest has been waiting to join our show for a couple months now and has finally made it on. Would you like to introduce her?
Absolutely. Everyone, please welcome our amazing guest this week, Jilldeen Ezeudu, Miss Progress Canada 2023. Welcome.
Hi guys, thank you.
How are you?
Being a part of the chat. I'm great. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We do have a famous question that we like to ask all of our guests, because I know this is the first time, like, we've been chatting through email, but this is the first time we've actually got to sit down and chat. So can you tell us, as well as our viewers, a little bit about yourself?
Definitely. So my name is Jilldeen, born and raised in Brampton, Ontario, went to the University of Ottawa, studied business, commerce, with specialization in human resource management. Did the whole, I'll say, business field, got a great job in my profession. However, I was still just not satisfied. So in 2019, I started modeling, got into this competition called African Fashion Week. Surprisingly, I won, and I would say that's kind of how my modeling career just started. From that, I did like Toronto Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week in 2022, and then my mom decided to register me for my first pageant without informing me, and did not inform me at all. I just randomly got a call saying, "Congratulations, you're one of the candidates for Miss Universe Canada." And that's how my pageant journey started. Made top 10 in Miss Universe Canada. And then from there, I kind of got scooped up for Miss Progress 2023 and representing Canada. And just had an amazing time to be in Italy in September to just meet wonderful women around the world and hopefully do my country proud as well.
Which you did. You did an amazing job at Miss Progress. Can you tell us what that experience was like, what your placement was? Because, girl, come on, you did so well.
Thank you. So, completely my first ever international pageant. I had no idea what to expect. And I was just really excited for the whole experience overall. Getting there, again, no idea what to expect for my first ever international pageant, but just based off the project that I had to do, or that all of us women had to do, a project on humanitarian efforts, whether it was for the environment or for healthcare or for humanitarian work. So I did my project on just marginalized individuals and what they face in the workforce, and how certain regulations and laws can be adapted so that women or people of color or people from the LGBT community don't feel like they're secluded. And I guess based off the work that I've done, I made top 3 in my project category. And then I also won Miss Elegance 2023 as well. So
wow, that's so exciting. I love that. I love that the pageant is so focused on the projects that you guys are creating. Can you tell us a bit more about that? Like, how much is it actually worth, and like, how much does it dictate the competition?
So I would say the project, to be honest, is you're getting majority of your scores based on the project. I would
Okay.
say probably like 60%.
Wow.
Wow.
So based off the project that we do, and it's something that you don't really see in a lot of other pageants too. They completely removed like swimwear and certain categories and wanted us to really focus on our humanitarian efforts and what impact we're doing within our communities and for our countries, which I really appreciated and loved. And getting the ability to just be able to listen to the other women's projects. You don't realize how privileged you are, where you come from, and certain things you didn't even have to worry about or expect. This is what people are fighting for in other places. So it really just put things in a different perspective for me, to me more grateful for what I have here and how I can even help them within their projects too that I'm here, because we are blessed to have access to certain resources that not everybody else has like around the world. So I was just like, if I can help you with your project as much as you can help me with mine, like definitely a plus. But for the project, I love that we had to kind of show them a progression of work that we were doing throughout the months. So it wasn't something where it was, okay, you came up with a project, you probably did it for a week, and then you forget about it after the pageant it's done. They wanted to make sure that, okay, we have a foundation for a project. We had to also do reports based off our project with stats and if we did win, what we do with the prize money and how we can allocate it to our project to continue our humanitarian efforts once the pageant's finished. So I really like the push for each woman to just focus on the community, focus on the initiative, and try to make a positive impact within the community.
I love that. Kudos to you. That's awesome. That's so good. Speaking of kudos, Michelle Ezeudu is in the chat, says, congratulations on your ongoing hard work.
Thank you. Thank you, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
One that started all of this. Yeah.
Yes. Let's talk about that for a second. So you had no idea that your mother signed you up for Miss Universe Canada of all pageants.
It's a no joke kind of competition.
Yeah.
Exactly. She threw me in there. She said, "No, I think you're ready. Go." It was so funny how that came about because she initially registered me for 2020 when everything with COVID that was going on. So it was a delay, and the pageant didn't end up happening until 2022. So for almost 2 years, I had to kind of keep it a secret once I know that I was going to Miss Universe Canada. But I just remember one day she gave me a call and she's like, "Hey, you might get a phone call from someone." Very vague. And I was like,
an interview.
Okay, like once it's that CRA, like I should be fine. But then fast forward to like 2 weeks later, I received a call from this beautiful lady named Joan, and she's like, "Congratulations, you're in Miss Universe Canada." And I was just like, wow, this woman really filled out my whole application for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. First off, I love Joan Hart. She's the sweetest.
So sweet. Oh my
legend.
God.
We love her.
Very, very much so a legend. But your mother is also a legend for doing that to you.
True. Wow. So what was your initial thoughts like when you got that phone call and you realized, oh my goodness, like did you know how much preparation was going to go into it? Like what was your thought process?
I was honestly shocked and surprised. And I just kept watching Miss Congeniality on rerun, thinking that, okay, I can probably get some help through this. No, just because it's also just my favorite movie in general. But there's a lot of prepping that goes into pageantry. And I feel like once you're in a pageant, then you start to realize like, wow, it definitely takes months to prep for a pageant. And it changed my perspective, to be honest, on pageantry. Because prior, I never would have ever put myself in a pageant. And now being in a pageant, I'm just like, whoa, I respect these women 200 times more. Just the regimen, being dedicated, prepping, getting sponsors, it's a lot of work. And for women and men that are completely unaware of how much work that goes into a pageant, it's a lot. Like these women are prepping for months just for the X period of time. So sometimes people just think, oh, okay, yeah, you're going to go buy a dress and you're just going to get shoes. And it's like, no, you have to prep for these days. And within one day, there can be like X amount of events. And so it really threw me for a loop. Modeling and pageantry, as much as there's similarities, it's different. It is different. And it was an exciting experience to just look forward to see how I can get ready for it and do the best that I can. I feel like I was more prepared for Miss Progress just from what I went through for Miss Universe.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what did you do then to prepare, since this was your first pageant? You had no idea, you're blindsided by your mom. What did you do to prepare?
Watched a lot of previous videos. Thank God for YouTube. Thank God for Instagram. Being able to follow other women in their pageant journeys and see how they were able to prepare and prep, and the steps that they took to get themselves to their or through their journey was really aspiring and inspiring for me, because I had no idea how to even start. So that was a stepping stone. And just also being around the beautiful women that I experienced that pageant with. It was nice. On Sundays, we got to do our choreography together, all the women that were in Ontario that can reach the Toronto studios. So getting their advice and finding out how they were prepping and getting ready for the pageant. And they made a group chat, so they would just make sure and check up on all the girls and like, hey, don't forget to pack this or be prepared for this and bring snacks. So it was just like a lot of help, a lot of sisterly love and sisterly help. And you really just see like the power of woman and how it's not just a competition, but it is a sisterhood. And that's something I really felt that I was within as soon as I was in Miss Universe Canada.
Awesome. So then how did you go from Miss Universe Canada to Miss Progress Canada?
Okay. Here's a funny story. So after Miss Universe Canada, I swore I would never do a pageant again.
I've heard that before. Oh my god.
I was like, I am not tough. I am not made for this. Like, this is for tough women who can do these pageants. It's a mental game. It's physical, emotion. It's a lot. And I was like, no, I cannot do this. And then fast forward a year, I was actually supporting a friend for a pageant that she was in. And then I get a phone call from Michaela. And she's just like, hey, I just wanted to consider you for Miss Progress 2023. And in my head, I'm sitting at this pageant, like scanning around the room. I'm like, can you see me? Is she here?
That's so funny.
I was like, is this a setup? So I got back to her and just like, you know what? I'll do it. Like, I've never done an international pageant. I should not just kind of block myself and say no. Let's give it a try. And having her as like my national director, her and Christian, honestly, they're just amazing team, amazing group of people to work with, to help motivate you when you feel like running. They're like, no, you can do this. And they really helped me throughout this journey. They really did. And I'm so like, I tell both of them, especially Michaela, like, I do not know where I would be without you, because she was definitely a guide. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Miss Progress Canada, they are in the chat. Yeah. They say amazing with a heart emoji. So proud of you.
Oh, that's so nice.
Thank you. Proud of you. So awesome. Proud of you guys too. We're a team. You know, you definitely need a team for pageantry. Like, you need a team, you need good support. I'm blessed to have amazing family members that were able to support me, great sponsors, great directors. So when you're around positive energy and positive people, it honestly helps ease the stress throughout the journey.
For sure.
Yeah. And I bet with your project, you probably needed a lot of hands on deck and different things. I kind of wanted to hear a little bit more about your project, because I know you mentioned it, but can you tell us like what it is? And you mentioned like the progress you had to do to get it. What kind of things did you do leading up to the pageant for the project?
Yeah, definitely. So for the project, my project, the topic, I'll tell you what the topic is, was discrimination of marginalized individuals within the workforce. So my background is in HR, and I worked as a human resource data analysis in different fields for almost a cumulative of 8 to 10 years. Wow. So a lot of people, when they see me, just like, oh, she models. I'm like, oh no, like, I was also in IT and HR for so long, and just being a part of that field, I realized that there are a lot of things that can be fixed. And what I even experienced within HR, it was hard for me to kind of report certain issues because I was in HR, so I was kind of reporting to myself. And I felt like as women, sometimes our voices were not heard in certain spaces, especially in a suit and tie situation. So it was really frustrating because I tried to make as much as an input or difference as I can. And I realized other young adults were experiencing similar things as well. So I was like, what's the best way to combat this? It's just by bringing attention to it. So I decided to use my podcast called Join the Discussion to just get a group of people who are comfortable to share their experience of what they face within their different workforces. And I wanted to get people from different industries and different walks of life, people that look different but fall under the marginalized category, and have them speak on their experiences, their feelings, um, changes that they want to see within their industry, how we can progress, certain things that we can take out that are already like in law, and just kind of also give people advice that they're not aware of. Like just HR laws and regulations that they should know that they probably don't know in their job that they've been working for 10 years, right? So I really wanted to push that. So I held conversations. I would record and film them. I would put snippets on it on Join the Discussion's Instagram page, and I'll post the full video on the YouTube page. So I just find sometimes open communication it's helpful when you hear someone that's going through something similar. They can relate, and they can probably play it for their other peers that are going through something similar too, and probably hear a word of advice that they didn't know, or a law regulation that they didn't know that they can help. So I just wanted to give out free information in the best way possible.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I really like that. I think that's also super unique. Like I've heard 1,000,001 pageant platforms before, and I don't think I've ever heard that. And I really like that it's specific to you, and like there's actual like action behind it, you know. And I think that's really important, especially with the kind of pageant you're doing. It's pretty important. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
I kind of wanted to know a little bit more about competing in. It was Italy, right? Did you say?
Yes.
That's so cool. I don't think I've ever heard of a pageant in Italy before.
It was, oh my gosh, yeah. Okay.
I think Miss Progress is the only one that I know of that's always been held in Italy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, good food.
Yeah. Beautiful weather. It's funny, getting there for me initially took like 19 hours. Yeah, so yay. But I can't complain because there's women that, they flew out much further for me, and it took them like 26 hours or 27 hours. So I'm like, who am I to complain? But it was my first time ever going to Italy as well. And it's funny, around that time that the pageant happened, Milan Fashion Week was happening as well. So I know, yeah. So I kind of stopped off in Milan at the airport to get my connecting flight to Brindisi, Italy. That's where the pageant was. And while I was waiting there, people were just like, "Are you here for Milan Fashion Week?"
You're like,
yes, I am. Thank you so much.
I was like, sure, yes, yeah, no, but it's amazing experience from the time I landed to like the end of the pageant. The food, the laughter, the experience was just amazing. I'll say complete day and night from Miss Universe. I know one is an international to compare, but just meeting the woman from everywhere, whether it was Japan, Australia, India, England, like everywhere, Malaysia, everywhere. Being able to connect in one country that a lot of us have never even been to. So that was an amazing experience for all of us to kind of share together. And just the Italian culture, and to immerse yourself and learn a lot of languages.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, English is mostly like English speakers, Italian, and a lot of Spanish. So it's definitely, shout out Google Translate, because it's come in handy for a lot of us. Yeah, and it's the tours that we would take, walking, lots of walking, boat tour, food, winery that we got to experience. So it was definitely not what I was expecting, but beautiful.
That's amazing. It's giving me like Lizzie McGuire's movie.
Yeah.
But
Yes, I love it.
as you're
out in song as well, so it
love
was
that even more. I love that even more. So earlier you mentioned, you weren't as prepared for your first pageant.
yeah.
What did you do differently going from the national Miss Universe Canada to, all right, I'm going international now?
Yeah. At this point, I was like, okay, wow. I think it hit me when I realized that I am representing Canada. To go to a pageant where you're competing to represent Canada, to now it's like, okay, you're representing Canada. Now what are you going to do? It really put a different pressure on me. And I wanted to just make sure I'm like, okay, I'm competing amongst women that's been doing this for years. And a lot of them have a beautiful report sheet of just their titles and what they won. I was just like, okay, I'm not just doing this for myself. I'm representing my country. I want to make everybody proud and happy. What did I not do in my last pageant that I can do better in this pageant? And ensuring that I got this schedule from time. So I could, the itinerary, so I can review what was going on throughout the day, ensure that I had enough outfits packed for each day, shoes, accessories, and just basic things that you probably wouldn't even think that you would need, like a different adapter, because in Europe their plugs and outlets are different. So ensuring to pack that, and makeup, and just all the extras to realize, okay, I'm not home. So if I forgot something, I can't call someone to drop it for me. Like I'm in Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
I just had to make sure I went through my itinerary every day for like 2 weeks prior to the pageant and just check mark everything, make sure I had everything, make sure I was comfortable with my speech that I had to make for my project. And just realize that it's okay to make mistakes, don't put too much pressure on yourself, still have fun, but be prepared. Be prepared even if for something that you weren't prepared for, just be prepared.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the key. People forget about that part.
Exactly. Question. So is Miss Progress Canada an appointed pageant title, or do they have their own nationals?
They usually do have their own nationals. I know Michaela was 2022 Miss Progress. And just, I believe there was like a lot of things that was going on this year where the initial person that I think was supposed to was unable to, and then they were just looking to fill. But I know in the next following years, we want to just have like a proper national pageant so we can find a girl, elect her, she can take over the crown, and do much better than what I've done.
Oh my goodness. I feel like you've done so many amazing things. So don't say that. Don't say that. They have big shoes to fill.
Very true.
Miss Progress Canada is in the chat and says, at the moment, we are appointed titles. However, we want to change that ASAP. Okay.
Cool.
There you go. So I guess to Miss Progress Canada, sorry, Liz, I did not mean to cut you off.
No, you're okay.
While we have you, Miss Progress Canada, if anyone was interested in going and representing Canada, where do they go? What should they do? Who do they contact? Let us know. We'll put it in the description if you're watching this after the live. Okay, Liz, your turn.
I was just gonna hop into some social media questions because we got a couple here. So here's one. How do you overcome obstacles is one of the questions you received on social media.
Ooh, to be honest, I just face them head on. Not to sound cliche, but growing up, I was always like taller than my peers. So of course that came with some ridicule. And at times I just did not want to go to school. I did not want to go to class. I did not want to hear the jokes that they thought was funny, but wasn't funny. And yes, they're laughing and you're like sob crying like in the corner. And it honestly got to a point where one day my mom was just like, I just remember I was over it and I was just crying my eyes out. And my mom's just like, you know what? Like, I did not raise a weak woman. I raised a strong warrior. And she's like, every day there's going to be different seasons. You're going to learn different lessons, but you cannot give them the benefit of the doubt. And you just have to face it head on. And when you show that you're not scared, when you show that you have confidence, they would just feel stupid and they would stop. And I just kind of took that with me. It's something that her and my dad would always reiterate to me. And I realized that as uncomfortable as it gets, it's the best thing to do. I feel like when you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, that's when you know it's going to manifest to something bigger and better, because you're pushing yourself for change. And when there's always change, there's always like evolution. So I would say, as hard as it is, believe in yourself, trust in yourself, and face it head on.
Love it.
I love that. How tall are you?
6'1" without heels.
Oh, she's a tall girl.
Yes.
You're taller than me.
I know. I was just gonna say. Damn,
I don't meet too many people who are taller than me,
No.
so I love it. I love that so much.
That's crazy. Actually, we had this conversation on the sit down with Scott Dion Brown, the other podcast that I'm on, and Liz was a part of this chats too, where I guess so. He's 6'1" or 6'2", and someone made a like he's. I don't remember how this conversation came up, but they were saying like 6'2" is not tall for a guy.
It's not? I think so.
Apparently. That's what they were saying in the chats. I'm like, no, that's.
But if you think of like the global average, like definitely 6'2" is tall. Like,
yeah,
it
is.
In North America, maybe it's more common, but yeah, no, 6'2" is tall. Like, if you see a 6'2" person, you're gonna be like, oh, that's a tall person.
Yeah.
It's funny. I didn't realize sometimes how tall I am compared. Like, I compare myself to my shorter friends, which I love, and they're standing beside me. And one of my homegirls, she's like 5'2", so I'm almost like a whole
Same.
taller than her.
That's like you and Brie, yeah.
And we'll walk places and wouldn't even think about it until like someone will stop us and be like, "Oh, you're like yin and yang." And you're like, "What?
Really?
Like, what?" Yeah, and then they randomly take a picture. Like this one creepy guy.
What?
Yeah, and it was like showing it to us. And we were more so freaked out that he took a picture and not that he was showing the height difference. So I was just like,
Sir, delete that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Delete that.
Yeah. My best friend's 5'1" and I'm 5'11", so we get the looks too, but I've never had a picture, so you definitely win that creepy battle on that, because what
like,
the heck?
he was an honest creep. Thank you, sir, for showing that you took the photo, but please never do it again.
Don't do that ever again.
Never
Fair enough.
I feel like I'd be so short next to the two of you. Thank you.
Wow.
I've actually, you know, when I'm
middle of us.
no, I hate that when I'm with Liz and her sister, because they're just like two giants over me.
In the pageant shoes, it's especially bad.
It's worst.
Yeah.
And then you wear heels too. We wear heels, especially for pageants, and they're like, "Why do you wear heels?"
It's like, why not?
Why not? Exactly.
Don't discriminate. The heck? So wow, that's still tall though. That's still tall.
Yeah.
Well, she's taller than you.
Very tall, and I love it. And it I totally believe that. Like, the bullying and all that can affect you, because people are like, when we're this age, everyone's like, oh, I want to be a model, I want to be tall, I want this. When you're younger, it is quite the opposite effect, and it is like, it's not the same thing. So I'm glad you were able to like really own it, do the whole model thing. Like, you showed them. You got a whole part of it.
It took a lot of time. It was like, do you model or do you play basketball? And I was like, I might as well do one. Like, at this point,
I do neither, so you gotta pick one.
I mean, Joe, you were literally in the airport in Milan, and they thought you were going to Walk Fashion Week. Like, that's a compliment.
Yeah, it was a compliment. I know. I wish I was getting that special service though. Oh,
I am. Can you help me? I need to get to this point. Well, so you do fashion shows, like you mentioned. You've done New York Fashion Week, Toronto Fashion Week. Where would be your dream place, your dream fashion week? What would your dream modeling thing be?
To be honest, I would say I am manifesting this. I want to be on Vogue.
Ooh.
I don't care what country, just Vogue. Like, yeah, any Vogue. Teen Vogue, just Vogue. Yeah, no, but that would definitely be a dream. New York Fashion Week was top on the list for me. And when I was able to accomplish that, mind you, I do everything by myself too. I don't have an agent. So I am my own agent as well. So it's a lot of hustling that goes behind the scenes, and being able to get New York Fashion Week is definitely like one of the biggest achievements that I feel like in my modeling career that I received, and then just being a part of Miss Progress International was like just another huge achievement in like the pageant world that I felt like I achieved. And those are just two big check marks that are just like, okay, not that I can slow down because there's still so much more to do, but it's like, okay, I should be proud, because sometimes you want to do so much more and you don't really appreciate what you have done. And I think after Miss Progress International, and I just started looking back at, okay, what have I done? I was like, okay, pretty good for yourself.
Yeah.
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 So you've said, you've done a lot. You're proud of yourself. You've done a national pageant, really the grand slam of national pageants. You've also done an international pageant. You've done modeling. You are your own manager. We have a segment on the show which is 5 tips from a beauty queen. You can take it either way, whether it be through pageantry or modeling, or put both worlds together. What would your 5 pageant tips be for everyone watching us today?
Okay, so bear with me. I'm trying to put this in order. Tip number 1, work on yourself. I would say work on your confidence. Work on whatever it is that you think, that you might not see that you're fully confident in. Whether it could be your speech, whether it could be your pose, whether it could be your walk. Just practice. Look in the mirror, practice, angles, how your body looks, what makes you feel comfortable, what doesn't make you feel comfortable, so that when you're on stage, you're not like worried or freaked out. You're more grounded, and you're just like, okay, this is my stage, I can walk it, I can pose on it. So I'll just say, spend time with yourself and get yourself mentally prepared. Number 2, research. There's so many women that have been in your position, and there's a lot that you can learn from watching other women throughout their competition, whether it's national, international, global, whatever it is. You can learn so much. And that's one thing that I think I use to my advantage, is just surrounding myself with like beautiful women that wanted to teach and put themselves out there so that they can help other women who aren't fully aware. So 1, work on yourself. 2, research. 3, itinerary. Definitely make a list and stick to that list. Know what your schedule is going to be like throughout the pageant. Pack accordingly, and then pack some more. There's never not enough of packing. 4, sleep when you can, because once pageantry starts, it's fast. It's really fast paced. You're going from one event to the next, lunch, then another event, then dinner, and then sometimes you're having like 2, 3, 4 outfit changes in a day, or you're redoing your hair and you're redoing your makeup. So just organize yourself accordingly in your suitcase. I packed myself based on days. So I had like my Monday outfits, my Tuesday outfits, my Wednesdays and Thursdays, and all the accessories packed with the outfits and the shoes. So that it's just like, okay, we're going here, boom, boom, boom. You can have it packed and get yourself ready to go. And 5, I would say, slow down. Once you're at the pageant, I know it's like a lot, but enjoy your experience. Enjoy your time. Talk to everybody. Get to know everyone. Network. You never know like who you can meet that's going to be your sister for life. You'll make amazing connections with different women, and you think, okay, I'm only seeing them for a few days or a week, and then next thing you know, you're going to fly all the way to England to meet your sister that you haven't seen in how long. So it's just, once you're all fully prepped and prepared and you're there, just enjoy the experience and relax.
Love that. Love all those tips. Yeah. And I like that you were...
Go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, I like that you were able to give tips on all aspects of your career, not just pageantry. Sorry, go ahead, Liz.
I always love the people where they're serious about the packing tips, because that's so real and it can help you so much if you really plan that out well. Like if you are missing a key item, you're gonna be panicking. It's gonna ruin your weekend. Like I've seen it like actually deteriorate people's competition weekends.
Yeah.
I iconically forgot all of my shoes at one pageant. So that's a running joke on this show. But I was curious, what are like some things that you think that you didn't think that you might need or that you needed, or things like last minute you decided to pack that were like really essential?
Yeah, I'll definitely say, okay. So one day in Italy, I had this kind of tight fitted blue dress on, and we were kind of doing like tours and everything. And something just randomly told me like that sixth sense was just like pack an extra dress in your bag. I was like, okay, let me just throw in an extra dress in my bag. And as we're walking on this tour, my zipper ripped. And it went, yeah, from like the bottom. I just put my foot to go up a step, and I just heard zip, and very inappropriate as high and ripped. And I was just like, okay, trying to go up these cobblestone steps. And I was like, oh, I have an extra dress in my bag. And I just quickly went behind, found this bathroom little corner, and like quickly changed and just joined back the girls. And they're like, you weren't wearing that. Or
Yeah. Oh my god, like costume change.
I just have so many outfits.
That was intentional.
Yeah, exactly. That was intentional.
Oh my god.
Stuff like that, you never know. You never know. You just never know. So always having an extra outfit on hand, a little baggie that you can just put like extra clothes, nothing too heavy or too big, but definitely extra clothing, extra shoes too. I've had a heel break on me.
Same.
Yeah.
You had it all.
Yeah.
You had the dress rip, the shoes break. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
And she's still really great.
Right?
It's amazing.
And she just got to pageantry.
I
I
know.
love that.
She just got here.
I'm very jealous. I've been here for almost 15 years. I'm still making these mistakes.
So much. I was just like, okay, I would always make sure I pack, even for modeling, 2 black heels. One that I always burn. I'm like, this heel might or might not survive the end of the night. So let me just pack an extra, and pins. Oh my gosh.
See, for me, my shoes, it's usually the strap. The strap has like snapped, and I'm like,
That's
lash glue. A lash glue to the rescue.
Oh, smart. Nail glue. Nail glue.
Nail glue. I just bring the E6000, like the hardcore, just like you got it to stick situation, because my problem is always the heel snapping. I think I'm just super heavy on my feet. Like I really like stomp on the runway, I guess, and it's just not good. So yeah, glue is all the kinds of glue. Pack every
All
glue.
glue, every glue.
Wow, that is so cool. I mean, I have never done any modeling, but I know a lot of women get into pageantry through like the modeling world in some way, shape, or form. I was curious in terms of when it comes to like runway walk, there's obviously a difference between pageant and runway modeling. Was it hard for you to like, first of all, I'm assuming you do runway modeling. If not, let me know. But with your height, I was assuming so. But how did you kind of like retrain your brain to have more of like fluidity and movement?
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, because it is a retraining of the brain.
Yeah.
And I would say I didn't fancy that for Miss Universe Canada.
Yep.
Because I was so, runway walk, you're not really smiling. It's like straight face, more so stiff walk, one pose, if so, and then you're going back. And then with pageantry, it's more so like elegant, soft, feminine, graceful, smiling. And I would forget to smile. So yeah, even during Miss Universe, I know my walk wasn't the greatest, but for Miss Progress International, I love it. The previous winner, Francesca, she would, while we would do our choreography, she would yell out, "Smile!" I'm like, Canada, smile!
She's on you.
She was on me, yeah. And I needed that, because sometimes it would just click, and I'd be like,
yeah.
Instead of like, you're like Kanye, like you'll go from like stone face to like smile to stone face.
Seriously.
Not Kanye.
Kanye.
Like, I'm trying, guys. So honestly,
Hard.
good tips from some of the girls are like, just look in the mirror
Mhm.
and smile. They're like,
Yeah.
we know you probably have like a resting face.
Yeah.
Just exercise those muscles and right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's literally us on this show. Because when our guests are talking and we're all on screen like we are now, Liz and I are like,
Yeah.
We're the worst. We're actually the worst for it. So yeah, we get it. Yeah.
That was me. Yeah, that's definitely me. So no, it was a lot of like Miss Canada smile and like yelling that honestly helped me. And it was like a mind trick to just like, okay, don't walk like this. Move your hips more, and
mhm.
have your arms more. So I had to keep reminding myself, and it was a lot of visual, just looking at the other woman.
Yeah.
And I'll make sure I'll watch like 2, 3, 4 of them walk, and I'll be like, okay, and I'll try to replicate. And it is different body movement, it's different facial expressions, it's different posture.
Mhm.
I didn't realize how different it would be until I was doing the walk.
And it can be so uncomfortable too. Like the
Oh.
smiling, it's like it looks normal when you're watching a pageant. You're like, oh, how hard is that? Smiling.
Yeah.
Smiling for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes straight is actually really hard. To keep it not looking like you're gonna murder somebody. So yeah, it's difficult.
Try not to cry because your muscles are like
And then, like it just starts
legs.
shaking.
Oh gosh, the worst. Yeah.
It's a lot. No, I honestly, it's like I said, initially I didn't know what I was getting into in my first pageant, and having to teach myself things. I was like, oh, I thought I would nail it down pat. It's like, no, complete opposite from modeling.
Yeah.
And just the poses, you're holding poses because you don't know sometimes how long you're going to be on stage for, and you have to wait for all the women to get there, and you're just standing in a position and your calves are burning and your smile wants to frown, and you can feel your eyes watering. You're like, no,
can't move. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Standing is hard.
Experience.
Definitely. I have a question for you though. So you had mentioned after Miss Universe Canada, you're like, nope, I'm done. I'm not doing another pageant. I'm over it. Are you done? Are you?
I'm scared to say it. I'm scared to say I'm done, and then I get a phone call. It's the phone calls that are unexpected. Those are the calls that
the direct marketing.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like after this pageant kind of sparked something in me.
Ooh.
Like, I might have room for one more. I could possibly, you don't know yet. In the future.
Well, you're still young. Why not? The sky's the limit now. You're welcome to pageantry. Question though, and I've been dying to ask this: has your mom done a pageant before, and that's why she signed you?
But you know what? I know.
Huh.
Mom, Michelle, what you doing?
We have.
She said pageants.
We're having. I'm gonna have to. You're like, hey, Ma, happy birthday.
I sent you up for a Mrs. Pageant. Here you go.
Universe, you're in it now.
Mrs. Universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Start her off on the big ones, and then we'll work our way.
It's only fair.
Only fair, exactly.
We do have another question.
I'm shocked because I would think that like. Oh.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. Are we delayed? Okay, anyway, I'll say my question. We have another social media question here from Instagram, and they asked you, who makes you laugh most? We might be already talking about them.
Who makes me laugh most?
Yeah, that was the question.
I laugh at myself a lot. I talk to myself too. I'm very nerdy when it comes to certain things. So yeah, I laugh at myself. My dad actually too. My dad makes me laugh a lot. He has like this weird sixth sense of humor, and I get it. So yeah.
We love that.
I love
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was just refreshing you on. I think you were lagging a little bit, Liz, so I just refreshed you in our.
Okay, that makes sense. I was like, what?
All was good.
Sounds good.
I'm just quietly sitting here. It's a live show. It's a live show. And Jill, you host your own podcast. Let's talk about it for a second. I love the where it comes from, what you do, and the fact that you've given a platform to people who are always, not always, but are typically on the back burner of everything. What inspired you to do your podcast and inspired your platform?
Thank you for that question. I would say quite a few things actually inspired me for this podcast. 2019 was I would say my favorite year. Just a lot of things happened for me for the best. And then 2020 kind of came and shot some of those things down that I felt like. And I was just really frustrated. And a lot of people, I think, were frustrated. And a lot of people wanted to voice their opinions, but just didn't know how to properly voice their opinions.
Yeah.
Or had it felt like they had a safe space to do so. So I was personally going through a lot of things with my job where I was working at before as an HR data analysis, and modeling was kind of put on pause as well because it wasn't essential, even though my bills were still coming and that was essential. But there's, yeah. So it got to a point where it's just I felt like a lot of people were at a standstill at the same time in life. And I decided I wanted to just start a platform or a forum where people can just vent their frustrations and feel safe. Because a lot of times my friends will call me and we'll just all be venting about the same thing. I'm like, you know what? This would be pretty cool if other people can listen on to our events, because I'm going to have something to say. And when I started season 1, there was just so much going on when it came to police brutality and certain racial groups, and a lot of people had things to say. So I was just hey, I'm going to start season 1, and it's going to be on this topic, and if you guys want to join, and these are 10 topics that you can join in and on. And I was shocked by how many people were messaging me saying, hey, I want to be on this topic, is it full, can I join? So from that, I went into talking about mental health, and I went into talking about households and how people are brought up in different ways, and just ways that we can show grace to each other. And even if you come from a household that's, I don't know, different religion, different ethnicity, different one parent, two parent household, whatever it looks like, we all go through similar things. And just talking about bullying, there's so many people that look different that's been bullied. So being able to just have a safe platform, a safe space where I wanted to allocate everyone at least 2 minutes of uninterrupted banter so that they can just openly express their feelings and their experiences and their convictions. And then once everybody kind of in that round table shares their experiences, and we all join in on the discussion, and we can just have a more big open dialogue and talk about how we can combat these issues and how we can help each other and learn from each other. And I truly just want to give all as much free information as possible, and just for people within our generation and younger generations to realize how important it is to communicate and how communication can help change a lot of issues that's going on. So shout out to you girls as well for having podcasts and allowing people to share their opinions and their experiences. I think that's also very important too. So I don't know, it takes a certain group of people to be able to share their space and their platforms with others. So kudos to all of us.
Yes.
I think pageantry has a special way of bringing that out of everybody, just sharing more. And I'm always curious because as a white woman in pageants, I always kind of feel like maybe I don't have a stand to talk about this, but I'm always curious how people might feel about diversity in pageants, people who are minorities. I know there's obviously been more progression than way in the past where it was not inclusive whatsoever. What do you think of the current diversity that's in the pageant community right now, and how do you think we can improve upon it?
I would say honestly, one thing that I love about the sisterhood is just as women, from my experience, to be honest, even in Miss Universe Canada and in Italy, honestly, and this might just be too much TMI, but we really just connected on like life experiences as women. Like, and one woman was cramping, and then the next year I was like, "Oh, I'm cramping even harder." Like, it was like stuff that really connected us as women that we can't even talk about.
Yeah.
Like, whether your boyfriend, your father, your husband, like, you know, like it's just like we really just understood each other with the emotions, the experience, what a lot of us go through, but just think that it might look different because we come from a different background. And so it was really just amazing to share those experiences and hear those experiences and realize that our ethnicity or our religion and who we pray to really didn't have an effect on that at all. The one thing I would just say that could probably be different is probably having more diverse like makeup artists and hairstylists that know other ethnicities' hair and have a more range of makeup for other skin colors. Because I know in the previous pageant, not Miss Progress, but for Miss Universe Canada, I know some of the girls just kind of felt left out because there was no one who could probably do their makeup or do their hair. And they weren't 100% skilled in doing their own makeup or their own hair. So it was kind of like a team effort of everyone trying to help certain girls with their hair and makeup. So I'll just say, like, probably in those areas of beauty.
I love that.
That's a great point.
I feel that 100%. I mean, I competed in the Philippines once upon a time, and being Filipino, you think, oh yeah, they'd match your skin tone. No.
Yeah.
I competed in the era of light-skinned Filipina girls are prettier, so I was therefore lightened with foundation. But I think it's so true because, you know, competing internationally and competing representing Canada, all three of us have done it. All three of us are different ethnicities. But it's interesting that you talk about hair and makeup because it's very true. I mean, going into international pageantry, I talked to Liz about this too because my mom's a hair and makeup artist, so she knows how to do my hair, my makeup. And when I went to Galaxy Internationals, I remember specifically looking at makeup artists' Instagram pages and seeing how diverse is it. Have you done Filipino hair? Because Asian hair is not easy to curl.
No.
Have you done, can you match my skin tone? If not, do I need to bring my own? And I know Liz, as a hair and makeup artist, I'm like, you can practice on me all day, every day, girl.
And it's important to, like, as a makeup artist, when I did my certification, they touched on obviously different skin tones and color theory and all that, but I went in and did even more because I knew with pageantry that I never knew who was going to be in my chair, and I wanted everyone to feel comfortable. And, you know, and hair especially, I think is people really get nervous about that, validly so. So yeah, it's important to make sure that it's very clear. If, you know, some people can't and don't have the training on it, which is, you know, it is what it is, but you have to make sure that you're really upfront and honest about it, because the girls who are competing don't deserve to suffer at your lack of knowledge. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. So yeah, it's a great point though. And I really think, especially in Canada, there's a lot of great makeup artists in pageantry, but diversity needs to be upped like a million notches. So yeah, that's great.
Shout out to you though. Do your own hair and makeup. I wish. I try.
This is really good at
it's a long process. Very long process. Did not wake up learning it. But it's still something that you learn every day, right? And there's more techniques and more things always. So it's one of those things. But yeah, I like that. I've never heard that with the hair and makeup. But I've heard it in pageants though. I've never heard it on the podcast.
No, yeah, but it's true.
Sorry,
though.
go ahead.
It's okay. It's just definitely something that we should maybe talk more about. Is like the whole purpose of the Pageant Sit Down is similar to your podcast, where we want to provide a safe space for beauty queens and pageant contestants to show who they are and not just showcase their crown and sash. And that's literally what you've done today. But it's also like, let's highlight everything else in pageantry, not just how was your pageant experience.
Yeah. Exactly.
definitely a conversation that should continue to have.
Yeah, I think it's so important. Very.
But our conversation is coming to an end. I just looked at the time.
That's crazy.
Oh
The hour has gone by, come and gone. But Jill, if people were interested in following your journey, whether it be through modeling or pageantry or your podcast, where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Jilldeen. That's Jilldeen, and also on Join the Discussion on Instagram as well.
Perfect. And Liz, where can people find you?
You can find all my pageant stuff on Elizabeth Marnock Pageantry on Instagram. We talked a bit about my hair and makeup. If you're interested in pageant hair and makeup, let me know. Elizabeth Marnock Artistry on Instagram. And if you're looking for a new pageant that is new and starting and fresh, come join us at Canadian National Miss on Instagram and on Facebook. How about you, Regine?
Love that. You should definitely check them out. You can find me here on this YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do before you leave and give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying today's chat. Links will be in the description for all of these wonderful ladies and for Miss Progress Canada. If you're still in the chat, send me an Instagram message. I will put all of the information in the description. You can also follow the show. We are on Instagram and Facebook at Pageant Sit Down. And you can follow me personally on Instagram and TikTok at It's Regine Elena. Or if you're interested in pageant coaching, it's coaching. I think it's coaching or pageant coaching .Regina Elena. One of the two. I will put the links down below. You would think I'd know my handle, but I don't. Just find me at It's Regina Elena. Everything is all connected anyway.
Here we go.
Jill, it's been a pleasure getting to chat with you this evening, getting to learn more about your journey and not just talk to you through email.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me a part of this chat. Honestly, it went by much faster than I anticipated. I wish it was longer, but you're just amazing company to be chatting with. So thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks you for joining us.
It was awesome.
It's a lot easier to talk to or have this long conversation when the person is willing to speak. So thank you so much for sharing your journey. Thank you for sharing your stories and your platform and for blasting your mom, for signing you up. We're going to sign her up. So Michelle, watch out.
Thank you. Thank you.
She's probably like, goodbye.
Yeah.
She's probably not listening anymore. But to everyone, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Again, if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And Jill, we're excited to see where your modeling career takes you, where your pageant career takes you. And to everyone, we'll see you next time. Bye.